Hey guys, what's up? It's Dan again from Cryptocamacho.com, where each day I help guide you through this crazy cryptocurrency revolution. Today, guys, there is a drop in price in the cryptocurrency markets. Bitcoin is falling, Ethereum is falling, many of the altcoins are falling, and I want to talk about the dip. I want to talk about buying on the dip, and I want to talk about the future of the cryptocurrency markets and what is making the markets drop today. So I'm sure you guys have all noticed that today on January 30th, there has been a drop in the price of Bitcoin, which has led to the drop of the price of many other altcoins, right? Ethereum, Litecoin, you name it. Everything is falling today. And right now you can see that Bitcoin is trading at about 10,142. Earlier this afternoon, it dropped under 10,000, to about 9,800 approximately. And we're not really seeing any signs of recovery anytime soon right now, right? You can see there's been a little bit of up and down, some people trying to buy on the dip, but really ultimately we're going back down. And I expect that the price is going to continue to keep going down for quite some time now. And I'm not prophesying this, I'm not predicting this per se, but I'm just looking at the trends and considering what has happened and what is currently happening in the market. And I definitely feel that the price is going to continue to go down. I actually sold the majority of my cryptocurrency last night, right before this dip. I just kind of had a feeling reading the news about what was going on with Tether, with a variety of things, which I'll get in here in a second. And so I sold most of my positions of cryptocurrency last night. I still have I think I still have about 20 to 30,000 left in cryptocurrencies. Some of that is in Tether. Some of that is in actual cryptocurrencies that have gone down. But for the most part, I've taken out all of my funds, right? All my earnings and everything, up over, 100, 150,000, which I had, I've taken out because the market has been too uncertain for me. And the time it takes for the prices to fall have been happening very quickly. And so I've taken my money out. That does not mean that I'm out of the game, and that does not mean that I'm out of the market. It means that I've taken the money out so that I can buy on the dip when the price goes down to the bottom or to the floor, where I think the floor is going to be. I'm going to scoop it back up. I'm going to buy a lot of cryptocurrency when the price gets to the bottom and keeps falling, right? It's uncertain what's going to happen. It's uncertain when this is going to happen. I think the price is going to keep going down, but then it will definitely rebound, whether that's, a rebound in a day or two, whether that's a rebound in a month. It will rebound, but I want to get as close to the bottom as I possibly can so that I can make the biggest earnings that I can, right? And you should also do the same thing. Let me give you a few examples here. So first, before I even get into that, let's just look at what's actually happening. So on December 17th, right, we were at an all-time high, about $20,000 for a Bitcoin. Then in December, around the end of December, we see a huge drop from the top. We see a drop of about 45% with Bitcoin. We see a little recovery, a little shoot up right here. But then we've recently seen another, fall that's even lower than it was before. The last bottom in December was about 11,000, right? Just under 11,000. Then the most recent fall price was about 9,000. The bottom was 9,000. Now we're approaching 10,000, right? We're at 10,000 right now. And I can see this bottom being broken again. This 9,000 can easily go down to 8,000. It can easily go, even further than 8,000 down to lower levels. And really where the floor is, like the absolute floor, like the bottom, in my opinion, is around that 5K mark, right? I don't think Bitcoin would drop below 5K. Could be wrong, right? Again, not a prediction, not a prophecy. But the floor is really 5K. If you zoom out, and you look at it, look at the same chart, the Bitcoin chart, 5,000 is pretty stable, right? It's really where, I guess really around 3,500, 5,000, between this area right here is really where more stability hits, right? And let me just, let me change this chart a little bit to a day chart. And you can see, more or less that's kind of where the floor is. So I'm not saying that Bitcoin is going to go to 5,000, but I'm saying I would not be surprised if Bitcoin does go closer to that mark, right? Closer to that $5,000 price point, right? And let me just delete all that. And that's because of everything going on in the market. In Bitcoin, it's not unique to this, right? We're seeing falls all over the board. Bitcoin Cash is down at 1,400, very low, right, for Bitcoin Cash. But again, kind of the floor. We see 1,000 or more around like 1,400 is kind of the floor for Bitcoin Cash. I can definitely see it going down to about, 1,000. Between 1,000 and 1,500 are about the floor for Bitcoin Cash. I can definitely see Bitcoin Cash going down to these levels, even down to 1,300, even down to 1,000. Can't see it going too much lower than 1,000. If it does, I'm going to be buying it up like crazy. You jump over to Ethereum and you see a similar trend, maybe not quite as harsh as Bitcoin, but same thing, right? In December, end of December, we saw a drop, right? About 40%, a little lower than Bitcoin. And then most recently, in the middle of January, we saw a fall, about 45%, and we're starting to see another fall. Right now, it's only gone about 15, 20%, about 18%, and I can definitely see this going down further. Ethereum hasn't been hit quite as hard as Bitcoin and some of these other altcoins. And another one here, ICX, has not really been hit that hard at all. If you look at ICX, it's actually still almost at its all-time high. All-time high is at 91,800. And we're only at 82.3. So ICX has definitely been a safe haven for people that have been losing money in Bitcoin, Ethereum, and other altcoins. And that's because there's a lot of positive sentiment around ICX. A lot of really, a lot of strong, market indicators in the social sentiment realm, the traffic realm, the trends. Everybody's talking about ICX. Everybody's calling ICX. So it doesn't surprise me that the price is being held up by by the anticipation that the price is going to go up based on all the hype that we've seen for ICX, right? Let's look at a couple others here. XLM, one I wanted to show you here that is actually going to be a very, very good buy opportunity soon here, is Trust. So Trust coin, it's fallen significantly, right? Since the all-time high, which the all-time high was December 15th, so literally in the last 2 weeks, we've seen this fall all the way 50%, and it hasn't happened all at once, right? And it is starting to drop even more. But I think that the potential for this one is actually pretty high that it's going to go up. It's going to keep going up, and that's because it's fallen down pretty significantly, and I do think there's going to be room to bounce back up. XLM, same kind of thing. It's fallen, but it hasn't fallen too hard yet. So some of the altcoins are maintaining their value even though they are going down. They're not going down quite as far and quite as deep as Bitcoin and Ethereum. So what is actually driving these downtrends of all cryptocurrencies, right? Bitcoin, Ethereum, all these altcoins. What's actually driving this downward trend? Well, a very big one is that Tether, USDT, which you see on Bittrex, Bitfinex, a lot of different exchanges, and it's essentially holding cryptocurrency, which is supposedly attached to the US dollar. Excuse me. That's what Tether is. Excuse me here. That's what Tether is, and that's exactly why I've actually taken most of my money out of the cryptocurrency markets, because often I've attached them when I sell them from an actual coin like Bitcoin, Ethereum, whatever. I'll typically buy Tether, USDT. I'll typically buy that and hold large amounts of money in Tether in the form of Tether cryptocurrency. But what's happened with the news is not encouraging, and it actually is scaring me a little bit, which typically I'm not that scared, but there's some big things going on with Tether that make me think, I better kind of wait out or weather this storm out and see what's going on with Tether before jumping back into cryptocurrency, knowing things are going down, knowing this is going on with Tether. So basically, cryptocurrency exchange Bitfinex reportedly subpoenaed by top prosecutor. Let's check. By top regulator, right? And that's because Bitfinex owns USDT. They own Tether, right? And so a top regulator in the FTC, the Federal Trading Commission, has issued a subpoena to Bitfinex about the exchange, about Tether, about the company, and about their liquidity around that particular digital asset. And you can just read it right here, right? Cryptocurrency exchange Bitfinex reportedly subpoenaed by top regulator. The Commodity Futures Trading Commission has issued subpoenas to Bitfinex Cryptocurrency Exchange and Tether, the company behind a digital coin that claims to track the US dollar, Bloomberg reported. Tether recently severed ties with an auditor. Bitfinex and Tether, which share a CEO, have been accused of fraudulent behavior. That's one article of many articles coming out that now the government, the US government, is getting involved, and they're questioning Bitfinex and Tether. They're questioning the integrity of that digital asset, and they're questioning whether or not it's an actual Ponzi scheme or not, right? Does Bitfinex, does Tether actually have the liquid fiat currency assets to pay back or to back up all of the cryptocurrency investments that are being taken place in USD Tether, right, into the Tether digital asset? And there's speculation on whether or not Tether can actually pay back the funds or not, right? Which is why I got out, because Tether has typically been a pretty stable cryptocurrency, right, that's attached to the US dollar, so it holds $1 for one Tether, right? That's typically how it works. They did have an auditor come out to actually, the government actually sent out an auditor, an independent auditor, to audit Tether, to audit Bitfinex, to see what type of liquidity they actually had. And Tether confirms that the relationship with the auditor has been dissolved, right? So that actually didn't go very far. Something happened there, right? Something fishy happened there. So I don't know what happened. Okay, so here's how the Tether situation without this Bitcoin price would actually collapse. Fears grow over Tether. Let's just read this, right? Fears grow over Tether printing press as auditors part way. So people are scared that Tether is like printing money like the U.S. government, which is kind of funny, actually. Not funny, but interesting, right? That Tether is now printing money similar to the way that the U.S. Treasury prints money, but they're not legally allowed to do that like the government, right? The government is allowed to do that. Tether issued its 2 billionth USD token, and little known token may be fueling Bitcoin's rise. So there's all these questions and speculations around Tether. Tether continues printing USDT with no proof of US dollar backing. So this is really coming to a head at this point, and regulators are now investigating it, right? And that is what's affecting the cryptocurrency markets. That's not everything affecting the cryptocurrency markets, but here's some other things. Why is Bitcoin dropping? Bitcoin's price falling below 10K amid wider crypto drop. Bitcoin price, latest updates, cryptocurrency values plummets as let's read this one. As South Korea begins crackdown. So again, back to the South Korea crackdowns. Bitcoin drops 10%, falls below 10,000 amid broad cryptocurrency sell-off. So people are selling cryptocurrencies, including myself, right? And it's been happening the entire month of January, more or less, right? People are a bit scared. They're nervous. They're hesitant. They're skeptical about what's actually happening, what's driving these prices lower. This is not doom and gloom. This is not an end-all be-all. This is not something to be extremely concerned about, although I would definitely watch it, and I would cover yourself, right? I would be in a position where you can buy back on the dips. You could watch the fall take place, and you could buy back on the dips, right? I think the dip is going to go for Bitcoin. It's going to go below or to at least 9,000 and maybe even below. So that's the price that I'm looking at. On Coinigy, I can set an alert, and I can say, okay, when the price gets to $9,300, alert me. That's what I do, right? Because I want to know if we're approaching the bottom there, so that I could potentially layer in buy orders down when it drops this base. Because what you want to do is once we crack 9,000, you have about a 10 to 15% window right here, and it could sometimes be bigger. You have about a 10 to 50% window here to buy, right? So imagine the price here goes all the way down. Let's say it went to 7,000. All of this is buying area. And if it does go down to 7,000, 8,000, you better believe that it's going to bounce back up. So once it goes down here, it's not going to stay down there very long. So put in your buy orders, right? Because it's going to bounce back up fairly quickly. The same thing goes for any of the other altcoins and other cryptocurrencies that are experiencing these dips and these drops. So number one, always get out before the drop is too deep. I've learned that the hard way, right? Right here, on this big drop in December, I did get out, but I didn't get out until, midway down, right? I didn't get out until I lost a bit of money. I don't want that to happen to you guys as well. So get out while you can. It's likely that this is going to fall down even further until some of these rumors go away, right? So that's what I'm looking out for. And I hope you do the same. So, I hope this was helpful for you guys. I just wanted to give you some thoughts on the recent drop, why things are dropping, and what's actually happening in the market. It's because of this fear, uncertainty, and doubt that cryptocurrency markets are going to recover. Everybody thought, oh, it's going to recover, and we see a big boom here, and then it didn't recover, and we saw a big drop right here. The same thing is happening, and now there's other allegations, other speculations coming out. I think this is being fueled by government. I think this is being fueled by regulators. I think this is being fueled by nervous banks. I think this is being fueled by all sorts of, how do we want to put it, elites in the government and in regulatory positions to further drive down the price of cryptocurrencies because they do not want to give legitimacy to the cryptocurrency and blockchain revolution that's happening right now. They have acknowledged it, They do, acknowledge it to some degree, but they want to control it. They want to regulate it. They want to tax it. How are they going to do that, right? I don't think they know yet. They're working that out now. They're working on it. They want more and more people to sell and go back to fiat currencies, right? Until they figure out how they're going to manage this revolution, this change in society that's happening right now. They don't fully know how to handle this, in my opinion. I don't think they fully know how to handle this. Regulators, I mean, when you think of regulators, go to the DMV, go to your local government, go look at these people, go talk to these people. The vast majority of U.S. and other regulators in the government are not technologists. They are not technology experts. They do not know the first thing about technology, let alone blockchain, let alone cryptocurrency, let alone how these things work, let alone how a decentralized and distributed network works. They do not understand this. They do have advisors that do understand this, of course, but in their minds, in the top regulators' minds, they're trusting their advisors. They do not have firsthand experience into how these things actually work, and so they don't fully understand it, so they can't fully regulate it. They can't fully understand how to regulate it if they don't understand it, right? This happened before in the 90s with the internet, with HTTP, HTTPS protocols, with FTP protocols, with e-commerce, with social media. You name it. This has happened before. It's happening again. We're repeating history with a different market, a different industry. This is happening again, though. And what is encouraging is that you're seeing, resistance. I'm sorry, you're seeing support. At different levels, you're seeing people support, the downward trends. And you can see that here with Bitcoin Cash. Here's some green support going up, support. There is a lot of support, even with Ethereum, right? There was support here. There's been support all the way down, but we're still falling, right? And we're still falling, and we're still falling. So anyway, take this as kind of advice, as a recommendation. Don't take it as financial advice. Take it as just advice, in general in cryptocurrency, what's happening in the market. Would love to know your thoughts on this. Again, I'm not panicking. I'm just being cautious. I've sold because I want to buy the dip. I was so invested in cryptocurrency. All my money has been in crypto, right? Most of my money has been in crypto. And when you have that much money in crypto, when there's a dip, you can't actually buy any crypto on the dip. I took my money out because we weren't recovering to the levels I wanted to see. So I took it out knowing there was going to be a drop. Now I'm waiting for the drop to fully materialize and to play out so that I could buy back on the dip. So if there's one word advice I could leave with you guys before you take off and before you leave this video, that advice would be buy the fucking dip. Do not miss out on this opportunity, guys. Buy the dip when we're at the bottom. Set alerts. Watch it, guys. Buy on the dip and make money on the rise. It's coming, guys. I'm Dan from Crypto Camacho. If you haven't subscribed yet, please subscribe to my YouTube channel by clicking on this little pretty red button right here, guys. I will talk to you next time. See ya.